I'm leaving you, don't ask me why. That was the text my girlfriend sent me at 2:14 on a Tuesday afternoon. Anish Tales here, and this is one of those stories where the relationship did not die when she left. It died when I said, okay, I'm Alex, I'm 31, Brianna is 28. We had been together 3.5 years, living together for 2. I thought we were solid in that boring adult way. Shared groceries. Inside jokes. The kind of fights about laundry and dishes that feel annoying, not fatal. Then that text came in. I'm leaving you, don't ask me why. No lead up. No explanation. No real fight before it. Just a sentence dropped in my lap like I was supposed to grab it, panic, and perform the rest. And for about half a second, I almost did. You know that feeling when your stomach drops and your brain starts racing ahead of you? What did I do? Where is she? Is this serious? Should I call? Should I go home? Then something in me just shut off. I typed one word. Okay. Not sarcastic. Not trying to sound tough, just honest. If somebody tells you they are leaving and refuses to even tell you why, what exactly are you supposed to fight for? She read it right away. I know because the typing bubble came up, disappeared, came back, disappeared again. No reply. At 4 that afternoon, she posted an Instagram story from a bar. Cocktails, loud lighting, caption about being unbothered that told me more than any explanation would have. She was not heartbroken, she was performing. So instead of waiting around to be humiliated later, I left work early and went home. I opened the closet, then the bathroom, then the drawers by the bed, and I started packing. Not smashing, not throwing, not storming around like a maniac. I folded her clothes, paired her shoes. Wrapped her makeup so nothing broke. Put her chargers in a zip bag. Labeled each box with a black marker like I was doing inventory. Coats, shoes, bathroom, fragile. By the time the sun went down, everything she owned was packed, sealed, and stacked neatly by the front door. 6 suitcases. 3 trash bags tied tight. 2 boxes, her tote with the broken zipper sitting on top like a final detail. I did not know it yet, but she was out getting drunk, very drunk, probably expecting to come home to a dozen missed calls and a man still desperate for instructions. She came home at 11:47. I know the exact time because I looked at the oven clock when the door slammed hard enough to rattle it. I was on the couch with one lamp on, phone in my hand, acting like it was any other night. She laughed when she walked in, loud, sloppy, mean. Wow, she said, kicking off a heel. You're still up. I thought you'd be blowing up my phone by now. I didn't answer. She took 2 more steps and finally saw the bags. She blinked once, then again. What is this? Your stuff, I said. She laughed again, but it came out different this time, too fast, too sharp. Okay, very funny. Why are my bags by the door? You said you were leaving, I said, so I packed. That was the moment the alcohol stopped helping her. No, she said slowly. That's not what I meant. I stayed where I was. You texted me you were leaving, I said, and told me not to ask why. She stared at me like I had broken some secret rule. You were supposed to fight, she said. You were supposed to call me, ask what was wrong, ask what you did. I shrugged. You told me not to. That is when her face changed. Not sadness, panic. This is insane, she said. I was drunk when I sent that. And I was sober when I replied. Her voice jumped. So that's it. 3.5 years and you just say okay. I looked at her, really looked at her. Smeared makeup. Phone clenched in one hand. Confidence gone. You already left, I said. You just didn't expect me to accept it. Then she started crying. Not quiet crying. Not cute crying, full loss of control crying. She slid down the wall right there in the entryway and sat on the floor with her knees up, like the bags were somehow attacking her by existing. This isn't fair, she kept saying. This is so unfair. I stayed on the couch. I didn't go comfort her. I didn't argue. I had done enough emotional labor in that relationship to know when silence was the only honest thing left. After a minute, she looked up at me and said, "Say something." You already asked me not to. That made her cry harder. Then came anger, her usual fallback. You're doing this on purpose. You're trying to hurt me. No, I said. I'm doing exactly what you told me to do. She grabbed a label off one bag and read it out loud. Winter coats, you even folded them. Then she looked at me like I had become a stranger. What kind of person packs someone's stuff like this? The kind that listened. She swayed a little and caught herself on the wall. I didn't mean it like that, she said. I just needed space. You asked for distance, I said. I gave it to you. That's not the same thing. It is when you don't explain anything. She kept scanning my face for something. Guilt, regret, hesitation. Anything she could grab and turn into a way back in. She didn't find it. Then she asked the question she should have thought about before she sent the text. Where am I supposed to go? I shrugged. You seemed pretty sure when you left. That landed. She wiped her face and changed her tone again. Softer now, fragile now. Alex, come on, you know how I get. I do, I said. That's why I took you seriously. That shut her up for a second. Her phone buzzed. Probably one of the friends she had been performing for earlier. She looked at the screen, then back at the bags. Reality was catching up. She had expected leverage, not consequences. Move these, she snapped. I'm not leaving tonight. I didn't move. You already did, she scoffed. Wow, you really practiced that line. No, I said. I just finally stopped improvising. That pissed her off. She started pacing barefoot through the entryway, stepping around her own luggage like it was an insult. You're acting like I cheated on you or something. You didn't break us by going out, I said. You broke us when you walked out and told me not to ask why. She laughed bitterly. So I'm the villain now. I'm not assigning roles anymore, I said. I'm just ending the scene. That stopped her. Then she stared at me hard and said something that explained way more than she meant it to. Every guy before you begged, they all begged. I looked at her and said, that sounds exhausting. Her eyes narrowed. You think you're better than them? No, I said. I just think I'm done auditioning. That one hurt her. Then she tried guilt. I gave you everything, she said, voice trembling just enough to sound almost sincere. I moved in with you. I chose you. I almost laughed. You didn't choose me tonight, I said quietly. You chose to disappear and make me wait. She opened her mouth, then closed it, because she knew. Finally, she said very softly, I didn't think you'd actually let me go. I nodded. That was the mistake. She passed out on the couch around 2 in the morning. One arm draped over a bag labeled jackets like it was a life raft. I went to bed, closed the door, and slept better than I had in months. The next morning she was sober, which somehow made it uglier. I came out to the sound of drawers slamming. You really packed everything, she said. You said you were leaving. I was upset. People still mean what they say when they're upset, I said. That set her off again. Now I was cold. Petty, cruel, enjoying this, waiting for an excuse to get rid of her. Then she hit the one line that almost got under my skin. You never loved me as much as I loved you. Almost, but not quite, because loving somebody does not mean chasing them every time they threaten to leave. It means respecting yourself enough not to beg, I said. She folded her arms and stared at me. So that's it. You just flipped a switch and stopped caring. I shook my head. No, I just stopped negotiating. She looked confused by that, like she had never considered there was a difference. Then she asked, what if I want to stay? You already chose not to. Her eyes flicked around the apartment then. The couch, the kitchen, the stacked bags, the fact that none of it felt like hers anymore. Where am I supposed to take all this? I grabbed my keys. I ordered you a ride. That was when she realized this was not a fight. It was logistics, and she was already on the outside of them. When the car pulled up, she looked out the window and said, I'm not getting in that. That's fine, I said. The bags still are. She turned on me again. You can't just decide this is over like a canceled subscription. I didn't, I said. You did. I just accepted it. Then came one last swing. Say something, she said quietly. Please. So I did. I thought about every time I swallowed my feelings so she would not explode. Every time I apologized to keep the peace. Every time she used leaving like a threat instead of a choice. Then I told her the only thing worth saying. I hope you figure out why you said it, but I'm not staying while you do. Her face crumpled. She dragged the first suitcase out, then the second. The driver helped with the rest. At the door, she stopped and looked back at me. You were supposed to fight for me. I met her eyes. I was supposed to respect myself. Then she left. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. By noon the next day, my phone started blowing up. Friends, mutuals, people who had not checked in on our relationship in months suddenly had opinions. She's really upset. She said you threw her out while she was drunk. That's kind of harsh, man. I ignored all of it. Then Brianna texted. I can't believe you embarrassed me like this. Embarrassed. Not hurt. Not sorry. Embarrassed. I read that message and felt almost nothing. Then she sent another one. We could have talked. That one annoyed me enough to answer once. You told me you were leaving and told me not to ask why. I respected that. The typing bubble popped up instantly. You were supposed to know I didn't mean it. There it was. The real rule. I was supposed to translate threats into requests. Drama into reassurance. Cruelty into hidden need. I didn't reply. An hour later she sent a selfie. Puffy eyes, tear tracks, captioned, "This is what you did." I blocked her. That evening I found one of her earrings under the couch. Old me would have used that as an excuse. One last opening. One last conversation. Instead I put it in an envelope, wrote her name on it, and dropped it in the building mail slot. Clean. Final. Boring, and somehow that felt more powerful than any speech I could have made, because when someone expects you to beg, silence hits louder than rage. 2 days later, the doorman texted me. "Your ex is downstairs, says it's urgent." I told him I wasn't available. When I got home that night, there was a note taped to my door, lipstick smudge on the corner. "You don't get to erase me like this." That line summed her up perfectly. To her, love meant permanence on her terms. She could leave, threaten, disappear, but I was not allowed to take it seriously. She texted from a new number that night. "Blocking me doesn't make you right." Then the messages got mean. Now I was emotionally abusive, manipulative, an ambusher. Apparently any decent man would have waited until she was sober, as if the problem was the timing and not the habit. I almost responded to that. Almost. But here's the truth. I didn't kick her out. I believed her. She left first. I just refused to pretend she hadn't. The next morning her mom called. We were never close, but she sounded careful. "I don't know what's going on," she said, "but Brianna's a mess. I'm sure she is." "She says you blindsided her." I took a breath. "She told me she was leaving and told me not to ask why." I respected that. Silence. Then a quiet, "Oh," that hit harder than most of the screaming. Because it meant somebody else had finally heard it clearly too. After that, something settled in me. Not guilt, not anger, clarity. She did not want a breakup. She wanted a reaction. And when all she got was acceptance, the whole power dynamic collapsed. That is not heartbreak. That is panic. A few days later, she called from another new number. I answered this time. No hello, just, "Why are you doing this?" "I'm not doing anything," I said. "I stopped doing things." She went quiet for a second, then softer. "You're acting like I never mattered." "That's not true," I said. "You mattered enough that I believed you." Long pause. "Then you're really not coming back, are you?" I looked around the apartment. My apartment now, quiet, no tension humming under everything, no emotional landmines waiting by the door. "No," I said, "I'm not." Her voice cracked. "I didn't think one text would end everything." "It didn't," I said. "It just revealed it." She breathed into the phone for a few seconds and then said the most honest thing she said in the entire breakup. "I thought you'd fight harder." "I did," I told her, "just not this time." We hung up without saying goodbye. That was the last real conversation we had. A few weeks later, I ran into her once at the grocery store, frozen food aisle. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically, just less certain. She saw me, stared for a second, then looked away. I kept walking. No speech, no rush of emotion, no need to process it afterward. That was when I knew it was really over. Not because she had left. Because I had finally stopped treating her threats like love. Some people do not leave because they want to go. They leave because they expect to be chased. And once you stop chasing, the whole performance dies in the silence. If someone uses leaving as leverage, eventually you have to take them seriously. Respect is not begging. And sometimes the cleanest ending is a stack of labeled bags by the door and a man who finally means, "Okay." Would you have packed her things that same night, or would you have waited until morning? And do you think a relationship is already over the moment one person expects a breakup threat to work like control?